Top of the discussion board today would be the Fed, of course. We'll see what happens later today. Everybody's concerned about whether they'll be dovish or hawkish, not so much about whether a cut is going to take place or not. Jensen Huang is way at the top of the leaderboard also, and mostly about his comments yesterday, but also about the fact that he becomes the leader of the first $5 trillion company in terms of market cap. Trump's statements about Blackwell, he's going to have a discussion with Z, he says, about Blackwell, and made a very strong, nice comment about Blackwell. That is really seriously up there as well. And then the major earnings reports later today, they would count too. So if you're going to, I'm doing a little pitch here early. If you want to get the very best coverage by far, in full brief, later today, it's going to be Jeff Lutz and then Brian Wang. I can promise you the analysis you're going to get about all of these activities that are going to happen today will be as good as anything you're going to get on CNBC. And then, by the way, if you're living under a rock, NVIDIA crashed through that $5 trillion in market cap. They don't appear to be done moving up. That is not investment advice. But Microsoft also went through the $4 trillion level, joining Apple in that rare tier. And the S&P is fractionally away from 7,000. And then there's, Tesla, who is fractionally away from an all-time high and the $500 estimate that I gave for the end of this week, which is also the end of the month and Halloween. We'll see if I can hit this one out of the park, but it's going to be close. It's going to be close. Elon Musk says today, he says about the Tesla Optimus, he says, imagine having, he said he participated in an engineering and manufacturing review today about the Tesla Optimus. He says it was a great review. And he says, imagine having your own personal C-3PO or R2-D2. Optimus will be even better. TipRank says in a new research report today, Bank of America analyst Federico Merendi raised his price target on Tesla. Here's another one. He raised it by 1.8% from 1.8 times, I think, from $341 to $471 and kept a neutral rating in terms of buying or selling. Well, that's honest. If you've got it at 471 and the stock is trading at 464, I guess that would be right. Merendi said that the higher target reflects strong progress in Tesla's newer areas, such as self-driving and robotics, which he sees as the key drivers of future growth. He's a smart man. Merendi said his updated outlook is based on a detailed breakdown of Tesla's main businesses. He estimates that the core automotive unit now represents only 12% of the company's total value. The robotaxi business makes up about 45%, followed by the full self-driving as a separate item. This is wise. At 17%, energy generation storage at 6%, that might be a little light, and Optimus Robot at 19%, which today might seem reasonable, but eventually it will be 4 times that as a percentage, at least according to Elon Musk. The analyst pointed out that the biggest boost comes from the robotaxi and Optimus. He said Tesla's progress in self-driving technologies moved faster than earlier expected. He also views the Optimus robot as a strong, long-term growth opportunity, especially as Tesla looks to expand this product into international markets. If you didn't watch last night, with Nicholas Gibbs, you definitely missed it. We had a great time going round and round and round about this CyberCab steering wheel story. And folks are continuing to chime in that multiple people said, hey, Robin meant we might need to stick a steering wheel and brakes in the car in order to meet regulatory approval, even though they never get used. This would be kind of like the rear view mirrors on Cybertruck or semi-truck. In fact, semi-truck mirrors in the United States every semi-truck is sold with a set of side view mirrors, but they are set up to be removed by the owner, which is a total waste of money and an absolutely amazing example of regulatory nonsense. Now, Tesla might end up being in that same regulatory pool, because of the 2,500 rule with regard to vehicles that don't have steering wheels and brakes. Now, how in the world they came up with 2,500? How in the world they even came up with a regulation with regard to cars without steering wheels and brake pedals is a mystery to me. So this morning, some are saying that we should use steer by wire and brake by wire, and then they can just be turned off. They would still be sitting in the car, the steering wheel and the brakes, which part of the goal of this car is to get the cost down and make it look like a lounge instead of a car. Anyway, I guess this story will continue to develop for a while. Maybe Elon will comment again. That might be useful at this point. Maybe it'll be a question because, at the shareholders meeting, they usually get people to line up and then they let them, 20 or 30 people ask questions. Hopefully that'll be true on the 6th. Elon Musk says this. He says the sum of knowledge etched by laser into stone in microfont and placed throughout the solar system will protect against a civilization regression. So let me see if I can interpret that. He is planning, apparently, to create some stones that are printed by laser. So we're going to print in laser on these stones in microfont. And then these are going to be released throughout the solar system. I don't know where they're going to be released. Are they just going to be released into the black void? Are they going to be left on Mars? Are they going to be, I don't know what his next part of the plan is. But I did have this from, unfortunately, the name is, what happened here? I'm so sorry. I really wanted to give you the name of this guy. Shoot. Anyway, I might look this up later and put it in the comments. What Musk is doing here is a civilization scale survival impulse expressed through a single human being who happens to have the money and the will to act on it. He is trying to defy entropy itself. Every one of his projects points to the same fear, that complexity collapses, that memory fails, that intelligence itself eats itself, that intelligence eats itself. SpaceX, Neuralink, Tesla, xAI, and now this, each is a line of defense against decay, against forgetting. This is existential engineering disguised as philanthropy. He's building backups for every layer of civilization. Biological continuity, Mars, genetics, reproduction off-world, cognitive continuity like Neuralink and AI, energetic continuity, sustainable power, informational continuity, these laser-etched archives. He's not doing it because he believes humanity is noble. He's doing it because he knows humanity is fragile. When you strip the hero narrative away, what's left is someone staring into the abyss of civilizational entropy and saying, I refuse to let this disappear. The uncomfortable truth is this: Musk is a symptom of the time. He exists because our institutions have grown too slow to protect what matters. The state, academia, the UN, all of them should have been safeguarding the long-term memory of civilization. They should have been doing more than that. And I think this guy's onto something, but didn't go far enough. He says they did not. So one man started doing it himself. Is it hubris? Absolutely. But is it necessary? Because entropy doesn't care about humility? When you strip the spectacle away, the real story is simple. Musk is trying to buy humanity time. And whether he's right or wrong, that act alone means he's already stepped out of the normal human frame. He's not just trying to preserve history, he's trying to make sure history still exists to be preserved. So tell me, who else, name another person that you know of right now who's thinking on these levels? I mean, a single individual, one person who's thinking on these levels, who's thinking beyond themselves, who's willing to live almost a hermit life in a 700 square foot home, who's the richest man in the world and vilified by more than half the population. Does he deserve a Nobel Peace Prize? He probably at least deserves a cape. Mobof joggers, M-O-B-O-F joggers. FSD 14.1.3 swerved at a pedestrian at 4 seconds into the video that he showed. At least that's what I thought at first. Then I looked back at the footage and saw that the car to my left veered into my lane and FSD moved me over so I didn't get hit. We drive with only just two eyes that can only see in one direction. FSD is seeing all around the car at all times. This is huge. Also, there was another report today that a car got hit by a meteorite, crushed the windshield, disabling the driver and passenger in the front seat from really being able to act or react to anything, and the car continued to drive just fine. Tesla-conomics. Okay. Just by analyzing Waymo's CEO's response and action, the co-CEO of Waymo, who was on TV yesterday, on CNBC yesterday, saying, oh, Tesla this and Tesla that. He says, watching that response and action to this question of whether Tesla is on the list of companies making the road safer and whether Tesla is transparent with robotaxis proves Waymo is going to have a very difficult time competing with Tesla. they own it. Talk about it. Don't lie and ignore the reality in order to what? Are you protecting the reputation of your own company? I don't think so. This is Randy Kirk. Please hit the like button and then go buy the book. The information is in the link rather is in the comments, but not comments, the description. It's in the description. Mario Nawfal says that South Korea is just locked in a massive trade and investment deal with the United States. Seoul just dropped the details after Trump announced a new U.S.-South Korea trade pact, and it's one of the biggest bilateral economic packages in years. Here's what's inside. Tariffs are slashed. U.S. imports of Korean cars and parts cut from 25 to 15%, matching Japan's terms. Chip makers, aircraft parts, and generics all get preferential access with zero tariffs on some sectors. $350 billion investment fund. Both sides will split the pot. $200 billion in phased cash installments, capped at $20 billion per year to stabilize the FX markets. $150 billion for shipbuilding and industrial cooperation, backed by guarantees and financing. Safeguards are secured. South Korea held the line on rice and beef markets while winning protection for its semiconductor and manufacturing giants. Overall, profits shared 50-50 before cost recovery. Projects vetted for commercial viability, and U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick will lead the investment committee. The takeaways: this is about building an economic fortress across tech, shipping, and manufacturing while keeping currencies and markets stable. Washington is doubling down on East Asia, and Seoul just leveled up its industrial play. All right, let me be complete today. I'm going to tell you about the most useless news of the day, but it is economic news that is part of what everybody looks at. But why? This is September 2025 pending home sales. September. There's a month of October, which is now over in 3 days. And we're going to look at September 2025 pending home sales. Okay, there was no change from the prior month and down 0.9% year over year, which would indicate it's not all that horrible out there. According to NAR chief economist Lawrence Yun, contract signings matched the second strongest pace of the year. However, signings have yet to fully reach the level needed for a healthy market, despite mortgage rates reaching a one-year low at 5.19 this morning. A record high stock market and growing housing wealth in September were not enough to offset a likely softening job market. All right, GDP Now actually came out with another report. They said they weren't going to do it because of the government shutdown, but they did anyway. The GDP right now, 3.9%. 3.9% growth. That says of October 27th, 2025. Trump is stuck at 45%, even though he's making all these trade deals, even though he's meeting with Xi, even though he's talking about ending the war, even though he ended the war. I mean, holy mackerel, what does he got to do to get people, more than 45% of the population, to agree with him or to think he's doing okay? Truflation this morning down a little bit. It had been coming up, but now it's topped off and starting down again. We've got it at the overnight at 2.44, but goods at 2.76, core at 2.34, services at 2.27 and the PCE at 2.64. Most of those are slightly down from yesterday. All right, let's go ahead and look where Tesla is this morning. And Tesla currently is at 461.55. You know, overnight, I look at it about 10 times. Yeah, I know. It's for the show. It's for the show. It's nothing to do with the portfolio. It's for the show. Anyway, but pretty much all night, it was at 462. We are at 461.42. So pretty much where we were all night. But Tesla right now is not up as much as the rest of the market or as much as it was earlier. I'm going to say that if the Fed comes in dovish, Tesla ends at 470 today. All right. That's my goal. It's not exactly, these 1 day forecasts would be stupid, right? I'm just saying, I think that's what happens. There's another ceiling at 470. After 470, straight to 488. Again, remember that 480 is the close of day trade. It was 480 is the high, but it was 488 was the interday. All right. So there's all kinds of possibilities in there. And then, of course, there's the round number 500, which we need to eventually deal with. Dow Jones up 0.56, NASDAQ up 0.65, and the S&P up 0.31. The S&P sitting at 6,912. Yeah, we're really closing in on 7,000. Kind of amazing. Magnificent Seven is exactly split besides Tesla, 3 and 3, 3 up, 3 down. NVIDIA up at $210 a share. It was, I think, yesterday. No, okay. Friday, it was at 284. So from 184 to 210 in a couple of trading sessions. All right, we get the VIX at 1697, which is up from a little while ago. Don't know why. It's kind of gone just like that, but it's still in a very bullish position. Then we got the Cathie Woods that are also evenly split, with 𝐅𝐫𝐢𝐝 and CRISPR still struggling, but TDOC is recovering. And you've got PayPal and Block both down, interesting, pretty strongly down. PayPal down 1.57 and Block down 3.23. Now, I don't know whether that has to do with their holdings in Bitcoin or just what, but let's go ahead and look at the bonds. So we've got the 10-year bond up one basis point, but still under 4 at 3.993. And then let's go ahead and, they're messed up this morning. We've got oil up 36 cents, $60.51, not much change there. Natural gas down a little more, 2.51, now down to $3.26. That would be a pretty solid number going. I mean, that number coming down and coming down as we go into the winter. Gold up this morning, $48.30, back over 4,000. And silver up a little more than that, up 2.05% compared to 124 at 48.30. Copper up 1% at 522.45. And the dollar is up this morning as traders process trade talks and the Fed, says the headline. Bitcoin, there you go, down 1476 at 112,438. I just don't know what's going to happen as the economy gets stronger and stronger. And gold seems to be going down now. Crypto is going down. Ethereum down 1.88% to 3,980. So yeah, I'm not sure. All right, I've already told you everything you need. Well, almost everything. Yeah, I guess I've told you everything you need to know about the rest of the day. You got Jeff Lutz and Brian Wang. I mean, you don't get better analysis than those two guys. And we're going to be talking all about the Fed, all about the earnings calls and reports after the bell. We're going to be looking at what Trump is doing in Korea. We're going to be looking at putting up data centers in space, which apparently is a thing. We're going to be looking at the nuclear thing that Trump just signed. I mean, there's so much going on, and then we got the Fed. Anyway, show up for both of those shows. There's going to be plenty enough. You set aside 2 hours because I think both of those. Well, I don't know. I'm not sure Jeff can afford an hour, but I'm going to get every minute I can out of him. All right. Last night, yeah, you should go look at Brian White too. But quite frankly, last night the winner was Nicholas Gibbs. If you didn't watch that show, the card will be right there for you to go back and check that out. Let's go ahead and check Tesla before we say adieu. And the Tesla number right now is back up, closing in on 462 at 461.76. We'll see what happens later today. And I'll be looking forward to talking to you a lot later in this day. It's been great talking to you.